Canadian Arctic in the Hudson Complex. So this means that if there is a ship by mid-century that arrives with propagules of the green crab in this region, there is a high chance of the species that will find a suitable habitat. So what is the sum up of the results in the Canadian Arctic for the 8 species? The 8 species, they all show a forward trend, so they all tended to go to the north, and they all show a latitudinal shift ranging from the minimum, it was 44 to 580 kilometers. All the species showed a gain in habitat suitability going from 1 to almost 13%, with the exception of the Japanese skeleton shrimp that showed a loss in habitat suitability. Nevertheless, these species showed also a forward shift, even though it showed a loss in habitat suitability. So for the present, the only species that show to have a suitable habitat in the Hudson Complex is the soft shell crab, and the periwinkle and the red king crab showed also to have some suitable habitat in the Hudson Complex, Beaufort Sea, and Chukchi Sea. When predicted for the future, the 3 species showed habitat suitability in Hudson Complex, Beaufort Sea, and Chukchi Sea, and all the rest of the species, the habitat was suitable, predicted suitable in the future. So, in a nutshell, all habitat suitability, the habitat suitability in the present and there was a general trend to increase the habitat suitability through the pole in the future. And all these species are connected to the 2 main ports, Churchill and Deception Bay, that are connected to domestic and international ports. But this is not the whole scenario that we have to take to have into consideration. There are many other ports that are in the Canadian Arctic and there are also, as I showed, like we said at the beginning, these new projected navigation routes as the Northwest Passage that could be usable. In this case, we only used 80 species to study, but actually, in reality, there are much more species that are connected to Canadian Arctic ports. So the general risk that we are trying to assess might be higher than the one that we are actually seeing. So the take-home message is that the use of species distribution will help in understanding potential risks of future invasive species as a result of climate change and shipping. And this study provides a basis for understanding how range shifts of invasive species may impact the structure and functioning of marine ecosystems in the Canadian Arctic. With this, I want to thank you all, and I would like to end with this phrase by Niels Bohr that says, "Prediction is very difficult, especially about the future." Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one question. So I've been asked to ask you which part of the Canadian Arctic, the east versus the west, is more vulnerable to the species, the invasive species, and how so, like in terms of environment, like with climate change, versus the port access?
Okay, I would say the most important ports are situated in the eastern Canadian Arctic. So, but we don't have to forget there is a good, very big port in Tuktoyaktuk that is in the west, but that's more for fuel uses. And yeah, so I would say that the eastern Canadian Arctic is more vulnerable. Yes, and yeah, all the mix with human use and climate change would definitely increase the high risk of invasive species in this area.
Thank you, Jessica. That does end our session for marine and terrestrial biology. We're moving on cultural, policy, education, and history. Our first speaker for that session is Julianne Yip, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, from McGill University in Quebec. And the title of the talk is From Winds to Sea Ice, a Historical Perspective on Global Climate. So, Julian, you need to accept my, my invitation to share your screen, which you did not do yet, and you need to unmute your microphone so I can hear you if you have a problem to accept my invitation to share your screen. Julian? Can you hear me, Julian? You need to unmute yourself, and you need to accept the invitation to share your screen. Is anyone else can hear me? An email, but I can. Okay, so Christine, you need to accept my invitation if you want to have your computation. And you don't have a microphone. I cannot see you with the microphone. I don't think it's going to work. No, we cannot hear you, and you did not accept my invitation. You don't have a microphone online. I cannot see a green thing on your microphone. Can Julianne just restart her computer, and we'll see if we can plug her after this. So Paula is not on. I would like to know if Aaron, I see you. Are you ready to give your presentation, to step a little bit forward? I know it's a little bit earlier that your time zone was planned, but Paula is not in, and Paula is not signed up as well. So will you be okay to give a presentation right now, Aaron? If you are, can you unmute yourself? And I'm going to give the power to you now.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much to step forward a little bit in advance with that technical problem.